Welcome to the Queen's Conversations podcast, the official podcast for United Queendom LLC, hosted by Teddi Rene. Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Queen Conversations podcast. I am your host, Teddi Rene, and I am joining you on this wonderful, amazing evening, bringing you yet another marvelous guest interview. Yes, I am. Before we get into our guest for today and the interview, I just wanted to thank you all for joining, for listening, for liking, subscribing, sending your comments, for all of the well wishes and appreciation. I truly appreciate you and your support, and I hope that you continue, that you share, that you like, subscribe, leave comments and reviews, and just interact with me, guys. All right. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. We hope that you enjoy it. We hope that you will stay. We hope that you will check out and catch up on all of the episodes currently available, and tune in for the new ones coming up very soon. Every Tuesday and every Thursday, a new episode launches here on season 2 of the Queen Conversations podcast. All right, guys. So let us get into our guest today, Miss Tiara Nicole. She is a motivational speaker and a published author who focuses on self-love, improving mental health, goal setting, leadership development, and surviving the grief of miscarriage. Through openness and transparency, Tiara Nicole is able to connect with her audiences on various platforms. Her mission is to remain committed to serving others through her personal testimony, and she believes that if her pain can benefit even just one person, it was worth suffering through. She inspires others to consistently work towards self-development and find the freedom in the most authentic versions of themselves. Her mission and purpose is to share her testimony in an effort of helping others survive the same challenges that she's been through. She truly believes that even if one person benefits, that she absolutely have found purpose through her own pain. So let us get into this. Tiara is an amazing, amazing woman. She is full of life and just, I love her. I love her energy. She's so supportive. And guys, I just want you to get into this conversation. So I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you, Tiara, for joining me today for the Queen Conversations podcast. And I wanted you to kind of introduce yourself and tell the audience like who you are and what you're doing and a little bit about your organization.
Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be a part of this podcast. Very much looking forward to it. My name is Tiara Nicole. I am a motivational speaker, a published author, and a development coach, and I work with my clients one-on-one on personal and business development. So that's the culmination of who I am, but obviously that breaks down into a lot of different categories. So I have, video blogging. I'm on YouTube. I have my books, do a lot of vending with those. I do motivational speaking on a consistent basis. I host conferences, workshops, all sorts of fun stuff. But really and truly, my purpose is to make sure that finding pain for my purpose is really the driving force of my business. And so that the things that I've been through in life, if I can help somebody get through theirs quicker, easier, or with less, catastrophic damage, for me, that's a win. So it makes the pain and struggles that I've been through feel worth it in a sense. So that's really the root of Nicole's Network, which is the name of my company. I've had my business since 2016. So coming up on about 3.5 years at this point. Really excited to grow. Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Nice. So what made you start Nicole's Network, and then why did you feel that it was something important, like something that we needed to have in our community?
Yes. So I started as a video blog, and I really was I love to talk too. So I just was like, let's just talk about it. And it started with me challenging taboo topics and just really going for whatever subject came to my heart. As it began to bloom, the moment I took it from a hobby to a business was when I realized that my story could help people. I've dealt with depression and suicide pretty much my whole life. And one day I was taking a personal development course at my church, First Baptist Church of Glenarden. Been there since I was 7. So, that's the home team. But I was taking a personal development course, and one of the ladies in the course came up and she said, she wanted us to pray for her and her daughter. Her daughter had been struggling with depression and suicide, and she was just asking for prayer. After the class was over that day, I went up to her and I said, I've dealt with depression. I've dealt with suicidal thoughts and attempts, and as young as like 7. So if you need anything I can do to help, just let me know. A couple weeks later, she calls and she said that her daughter had been date raped, and it triggered her suicidal attempt. Her daughter had been hospitalized for it, and she was feeling like, I don't know what to say to my daughter. I don't know. I've never dealt with depression. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And I feel like everything that I'm doing is making it worse. So, we had a conversation. I kind of just told her some of the things that her daughter may not have been able to share, shedding light on perspective, what I wish my mother would have known but couldn't express at that time, just really being able to help translate some of the things that she was saying, offer suggestions on how to help, etc. And it was the first time I'd been thankful to have been through depression and suicide, because in that moment it was valuable to be able to help another family survive their moments. And that was when I realized that a couple of things. One, that sharing my story was helpful for other people. And two, that my first book needed to be published. So I had started 23 and Finally Loving Me when I turned 23. I am not 23 anymore. I get that question all the time. I am no longer 23. It's when I wrote it. But it started off as just a journal. It started off as just me expressing myself, really just putting it out there and understanding who I was as a human, understanding who I was as a Black woman in America, and also what I wanted, what I didn't want, who I wanted to be around, who I wanted to become. So I spent a year focused on healing in every area, but it really was just a journal. And it wasn't until at that point I was 25 when I was like, oh, this could help someone. So I'd shared with her like an electronic version, and then at that point made the decision that I was going to publish it. And then actually published the book at 26.
Nice. So I was definitely going to ask about like how you decided to become an author and to write, and then what your process was. So 23 and Loving Me and Finally Loving Me was your first book.
Yes.
Okay. And there's a second one, right?
Second and third.
Second and the third. Okay. So to tell us what the second and the third books are and what they're about, and then what the process, like the writing process was, like how it differed from the first book.
Yes. So the first book, of course, was just a year committed to journaling. The second book is called When Life Gives You Lemons, and it is just a story of perseverance. It talks about like, what do you do when life gives you lemons? Like, how do you proceed? What happens, right? Because we all have our share of lemons. For me, my lemons were, in 2016, I miscarried twins. And that was like the sourest lemon I could possibly have fathomed. I lost them about 3 weeks apart, and I found out one was dead on my 25th birthday. So that was like the biggest heartbreak I could possibly think of. But like, what do you do? Like, how do you find purpose for the pain that you didn't ask for? So that's what the second book talks about. That writing process was more so like probably about 3-4 months. But it was really just about expression and really just getting some things off my chest. But it was intended to be a book, whereas the first one started off as a journal that turned into a book. The third one is called Life After Loss. And that one, I specifically speak to how do you survive the grief of a miscarriage and how do you support people through it. As I was going through the grief of my miscarriages, I realized, there wasn't a lot of support for it. And there wasn't a lot of specifics as to what do you do with that grief? How do you survive all of it that comes along with it, like guilt for yourself, anger towards God. I talk about how do you deal with the family dynamics and how just because the mother physically lost the baby, there's still the father of that baby, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, everybody, the godparents, like everyone who was hoping for a baby and ended up with an angel has to go through a grieving process. So I talk about that as well. And also how to support people through that process, because not everyone has dealt with it hands-on and don't really know what to say, what to do, how to experience it. So I have a whole chapter devoted to how to support people through that process as well. That book came, I kid you not, because my mother told me to. One day she sat me down and she was like, I really feel like this is your lane. I really feel like this is what you need to be, speaking on, because it's such a taboo subject, but so many people deal with it. So the statistics are that 1 in 4 women have dealt with miscarriage or infertility. And then every 1 in 5 confirmed pregnancies, which means a doctor found the heartbeat, 20% of those pregnancies end up in miscarriage. So for it to be that common and no one to be talking about it, like, I had to do my part, which was to put it in someone's hands, to help people to get through that and understand that process. And I searched high and low, and even from a spiritual perspective, I'm like, for it to be so common, and even if you just think about death, like the Christian community, particularly the Black Christian community, doesn't talk about death, but it happens all the time. And we especially don't talk about miscarriage and infertility. Like, what do you do in those experiences? Like, how do you actually go about the work of surviving that guilt? And how do we support one another through that process? So that's kind of the first 3 books. In my book release of my first book, I made a promise to my village, so to speak, that I would publish a book every year. So 3 for 3, we're on track. Book number 4 is going to be a while, but it's probably going to be like the end of 2020, just because number 3 took me out. Like mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, like it took me out. So book number 4 will probably be towards the end of 2020, but it's already written. I know what it's going to be. So yeah.
Nice. That's a good, like, I have goals to read like a book a week. I couldn't even imagine putting out a book a year. Like, that's good luck and congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful goal, but I mean, thinking about all the things that we go through in a year, like, and having new experiences, like, it makes a lot of sense. So,
yeah, for sure.
So where can everyone get your current books and be on the lookout for book number 4?
Yes. So all of my books are on Amazon. So 23 and Finally Loving Me, When Life Gives You Lemons, as well as Life After Loss. They're all on Amazon in a virtual format. Physical copies can be ordered on Amazon or on my website, which is www.nicolesnetwork.net, NICOLES network.net. And everything is on there. Like, literally, my whole business is on that website. So,
right. And they're all under the author name Tiara Nicole?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What other questions do we have for you? So you were talking about your personal and business development services for your clients. Could you talk more about the types of services that you offer for both professional and business and personal?
Absolutely. So it's a one-on-one weekly conversation, and we literally will go as long as you need. I have one client who's been with me. We're going on like month 5. So, just weekly conversation, being able to dig deep. It's really an accountability system and making sure that we talk about what your goals are, and then I hold you accountable to those goals, but also expanding and pushing and guiding you in the direction of who you want to become in this world. With both my personal and business development course, we start with like the person, because especially a lot of my clients, they want to be speakers, they want to be authors, those are kind of the clients I typically draw. But with that, like, you're building a business on you. So it's very important to make sure you as the human is solidified. So we talk about finances, we talk about spirituality, we talk about mental health, we talk about physical health, we talk about professional development, time management, all those life skills. And then it kind of grows from there. I try to customize the sessions as best as possible based on what my clients need. But there's homework assignments to kind of expand the lesson a little bit. I provide resources, access to me. My clients text me all the time, like, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, can you look at my website? Hey, can you do this? And I'm happy to, because I feel like that's my job. So it's a guided mentorship, but also an accountability system to make sure that someone's asking those tough questions.
Nice. Yeah, I am all for accountability and making sure that you have a good support system. I'm the time management procrastination chick. Like, it bothers me when I myself find myself just wasting time, because it's like this life is so short and precious, which is odd, because it's like the longest span of time that we actually know is like a lifetime, but it's very short.
Yeah.
So it's like to waste your time doing things that are insignificant or that are not like guiding you, leading you towards the person you want to be.
Yeah.
100% here for any and everybody, helping everyone through that. So
yes, for sure.
Thank you for that. Let's see. So we talked about your books, right? And you were talking about your vlog on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get started with that? And then what types of taboo topics? You said you just kind of started with the taboo topics. And then also, like, how were they initially received? Like, I know our generation is, I like to call us the taboo. We just don't care generation. Like, I'm learning and meeting so many people who were like the wild child in their family, like just like me, like the one to say anything. And the whole family's like, oh my God, like, why would you say that? It's like, I mean, what? It's
yes, I think I have successfully earned that title in my family, particularly after my first book. So my family was like, wait, I'm like, it's my truth. I think that's the challenge when it started as a journal, because like the intent was to be honest and transparent and whole, right? Yeah, so that comes with a little bit of a collateral damage, to say the least, that I'm probably still paying for. But
no worries, I'm there with you. Every time I talk to my family, they're like, "Seriously, Teddi, like, I don't even know why I'm shocked anymore."
Pretty much. So with that being said, I'll talk about it all, especially on YouTube. I started with just talking about subjects that like interest me. And I would do the research and try to understand it a little bit better and then just present the information. I've always been big on each one, reach one. So if I know something, I'm quick to be like, all right, who can I tell? So that's what YouTube started off as for me. I've talked about, you name it, child. Like there's been some pretty juicy stuff on YouTube under Nicole's network. So definitely check it out. We've talked about like blending finances was one of the earlier ones. I've talked about, definitely have race conversations. For sure, like hands down. I'll debate anybody about race and why I feel like Black people are the best race. I'll have that conversation any day, hands down. And why specifically Black women are God on earth.
Amazing. Beyond amazing.
We could talk about it all day long. I have had, so Thoughtful Thursdays is kind of like the how-tos of like the business world. So how to set goals, how to manage your time. I have a couple on that. Motivational Mondays are just getting you encouraged, being your whole self and how to get ready for the week. And then I have Self-Care Sundays, which are basically how to take care of you as a person. Because I definitely believe that self-care it's a necessity in order to sustain a business. So typically Sundays are my days where I just rest. I don't do anything that I'm not excited to do. I work on my business every single day and have been for the past 2.5 years. However, Sundays are the days that I do things that are like fun. Like, what do I enjoy? You know what I mean? I make a genuine effort to Monday through Saturday, I work incredibly hard to get things done. And then Sunday, it's like, email, social media. I might do a video blog or, whatever, but it's the fun stuff. It's not the like, I have to do or I need to do. Not on Sundays. And that includes also like, I have to go visit. If I don't want to spend time with a person, it's not happening on Sunday. I think you're on mute still.
I am on mute. There we go. Thank you. I was like, we are besties because I am the Solitude Sunday queen. Like anyone who knows me or has been following me knows that if you have not already pre-scheduled me on Sunday,
hello,
you are not getting in touch with me. I will look at your text message and put it to like the only day that I am comfortable with ignoring text messages and not replying to emails is on Sunday. And it's, I myself, like if I want to work on something, I will. But it originally started as, no, you do too much every other day.
Exactly.
Never have time for yourself. Sundays are the day where you're just going to be by yourself. But that was lonely. I can be by myself, but now like it felt more like work to kind of force myself to like stay off of social media. So I was like, you know what? If I want to get on social media, I can absolutely.
And that's what I'm going to do. Exactly.
My day. So
I'll still hang out with people, but it's people that I want to hang out with and not like the obligatory visits.
All right. Well, see, I don't hang out with anybody I don't want to hang out with.
Well, I mean,
nope, not even business wise. I'm like, you know what? I just don't vibe with you. We just can't do business. Like my friends will tell you, I'll tell you in a second. I'll consider coming, but I'm probably not going to show up. So don't count me in. Like, But yeah, Sunday, I tell people all the time, like if you can take no other time for yourself, Sunday is the perfect day because most people are going to cancel on you on Sunday. Everybody wants to sleep on Sunday. It's a perfect day to prepare for the week. It's the day where like you can catch up on all your TV shows and still be able to talk about it all week. Like I love Sundays.
Absolutely.
Traffic sucks on Sunday anyway, so if you can stay home, stay home.
Yep.
All right. But yeah, I'm all about Solitude Sundays. All right, let's see. So do you have any upcoming events or anything special happening? I know we were talking earlier, you were talking about the Loving Me conference.
Absolutely. So Loving Me 2019, this is the third annual conference, and this year we're taking it to Charlotte, North Carolina. Very, very excited. We have like 20 plus speakers, panels, workshops, conferences, just really good information. We're starting with Friday night will be a networking happy hour hosted by comedian Liz Barlow. My beloved soror, and she's freaking hilarious. So very excited to have her on board for Friday night. As you know, hosting the networking happy hour. It's going to be lots of fun, kind of like speed dating, but for networking. Just get to know people and see who you can network with and things like that. Very excited. Saturday and Sunday is going to be from 10 to 5, and we're going to be like I said, there's going to be workshops. We're going to have panel discussions. VIP get free lunch. Make sure you get your VIP pass. VIP, they get free lunch. They get swag bags from our vendors, as well as priority seating. And we'll have a VIP lounge where you'll have one-on-one access with all the speakers. So you'll be able to get lots of good tidbits. And then we also have general admission as well. For 50% off of your tickets, you can use promo code Tiara Nicole, TIARA NICOLE. And the site is on Eventbrite. So it's lovingme2019.eventbrite.com. So use that promo code for general or VIP admission, 50% off. Why not? It's going to be lots of good stuff. Very, very excited for this. The list of speakers we have for 2019 is phenomenal. And I am incredibly excited to be there. So meet me in Charlotte.
Nice. And you said that's September 20th to the 22nd, right?
Yes. Friday, September 20th through Sunday, September 22nd.
Nice. All right. So I'm going to put all that information in the show notes as well so they can have access to the tickets and the discount code and all of that wonderful information. So we're talking about speakers. And I know a lot of people are trying to get into the speaking game with like this surge of influencers and personal branding and a lot of people wanting to share their stories and their capabilities and talents.
Yes.
If you could give someone looking to get into speaking, 3 places to start, 3 tips, 3 key ingredients, what would they be?
Absolutely. And I agree. It is becoming a very saturated market. However, that doesn't mean you can't do it, right? One thing I would say is be prepared. So know what your story is. Even though every engagement, I have a different presentation, I'm very clear on what my story is, right? I've done my research. I prepare. I had a speaking engagement recently at the Keep Your Head Up conference. I prepared for like a solid 2 months. I committed it to memory, and it was there was a very clear difference between who was prepared and who kind of just showed up. With that being said, not only do you feel different because you feel more engaged and excited, the audience can tell who prepared for that and who did not. And you don't want to be the person that feels like, oh, I didn't prepare. Because that's just not a good feeling at all. So always be prepared, and you never know when someone's going to be like, hey, I have this coming up. You want to just be ready at any given point. Like, you can call me on Sunday and say I have an event on Saturday, and I'll be like, yes, I'll get ready. So 1, be prepared, right? 2, understand that being a speaker, especially when you're first getting started, is a hustle, hands down. I'm constantly prospecting myself. I'm constantly putting myself out there, looking for opportunities, searching for things to be a part of. And if not for this year, then like setting it up for, can I be a part of your annual conference next year? Because a lot of times by the time you see it promoted or anything like that, like people are like, oh, I already have the speaker lineup. For example, like the Love and Me conference. So if you were to reach out now and be like, hey, can I get on your conference? I'd be like, not this year, but you can follow up for next year because it's an annual thing. So being able to like think about the conferences that you go to, that you see, that you hear about, like just hustle and put yourself out there. With that being said, it ties back to number 1 is being prepared, right? Making sure you have a speaker 1 sheet together, making sure that you have videotapes of your speaking engagements. You want to have videography at every engagement. It's worth the money, I promise you, to pay somebody to come to your conference or to your engagements and speak. And then also making sure that just have like a running reel, so to speak. So if you go to nicolesnetwork.net and click on the speaker tab, you'll be able to see a list of videos that I've had previously done. And you'll be able to hear how I speak, how I talk, the topics I talk on. I have a pitch deck already created. So when you're reaching out to people, have something to show them for sure. And if you are looking for something, there's a site, like to create it, there's a site called Fiverr, Fiverr, discounted digital services. I've gotten a lot of work done there, and we're talking like $10, $15 and turnaround time of like 24 hours. Like, if you can't spend $15 on your business, it's not your business.
I love Fiverr. I love it.
I will look, like, anytime I need a service, I'm like, let's look at Fiverr first. Let's see what's there.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So number 1, make sure you're prepared. Number 2, make sure you understand it's a hustle. And number 3, create opportunities for yourself. Loving Me 2017 started as me creating an opportunity for myself. I wanted to see myself as a speaker, so I created a conference and leveraged my networks to say like, hey, who can I bring aboard to be able to do that? And for example, one of the speakers at my first conference was my mother. She's an accountant. She's had her business for 20 plus years. She had, why not? And it's so crazy to have her at 2019 as well. So like, full circle moment, but like leverage your networks. Yes, we have the same last name, but it doesn't matter that that's my mother. She has a business. She's really good with finances and she has something to offer. Like, who do you know that can go along with you, right? So making sure that you're creating opportunities for yourself, which kind of goes along with the prospecting piece of it. But even if it's your own conference or your own workshop, like start small and grow from there. My first Loving Me was free. Obviously this year is not. It's a hustle. Like, it takes time to build your brand. It takes time to build your network. But having a little bit of patience and work ethic, because again, just like I've said earlier, the last 2.5 years, I've touched my business every day. I don't not work on my business. It's not a thing. It's not even an option.
Nice. And you answered my next question, which was going to be some suggestions for people who maybe don't have, a speaking reel or information and things to show when they're pitching themselves to speak at different conferences and engagements. But, creating those opportunities for yourself, definitely.
Yeah. And I would say as well. So, as you know, we are members of Sigma Gamma Sorority Incorporated.
Hey.
Hey. But I'm speaking on that platform numerous of times. Regional conferences, meetings, area meetings, like you name it. I've been blessed to leverage that network quite a few times. And that's where I got my experience. Like, if not there, then try your church. If not your church, create your own conference. But be willing to speak for free to create that experience.
Absolutely. And I mean, and things like, a lot of people are getting into webinars and virtual conferences. I know I did the Winning Season Challenge with Laura Cruz this year. And it was great. It was a week-long virtual conference where she had different speakers come. So like you said, like leveraging your network, seeing who is aligned with your purpose, and then creating that. Like, that's something now that if I wanted to go and speak, it's like, hey, I've only been to whatever, but here is my entire presentation for this virtual conference. And now you have some type of social proof. Or also like your vlog. Like, that's definitely some proof and representation of your speaking and camera skills as well. So
absolutely. And it's all about just making sure that you position yourself as a subject matter expert of some sort. Like, pick a subject that you're passionate about and then run for it. Like, you don't have to, like you said, it could be your video blog. It's free, it's easy, it's simple. Like, get your hair together, get your makeup together, do what you got to do. But it's possible. Like, for anyone to say that I don't have access, like, you're not trying hard enough is what it boils down to. Mm-hmm. There are too many events. There are too many, I get to the point where I'm like, dang, I found too many to even prospect. Like, I literally have to dedicate hours to prospecting because I find too many opportunities. And it's just really about taking the risk and putting yourself out there and being comfortable hearing no or not hearing an answer. If I prospect to 10 different organizations and I get back 2, that's a win. You can't focus on the 8 that either said no or didn't respond. I got 2. All right, let's build on that momentum. Let's go from there. My first speaking engagement was February 2018. And that came, my chapter was doing a women's empowerment event. And my chapter president was like, oh no, baby, you need to speak. You getting on the stage, because I had offered to plan it because I just thought it was a great idea. I was like, yeah, I'll organize it. I'll do the legwork, whatever. I'll be the chair of the committee, et cetera. And she had kind of put out there, she was like, I wonder if we have anyone in the chapter that's written a book. And I was like, well, my book will be out by then. She's like, girl, you got to speak. Like, what? Kimberly Ellison Taylor is one of the most supportive.
Love her.
She's amazing. But I really thank her for seeing that in me. And that was the first time I spoke as a motivational speaker. I had done presentations previously and things like that. But that was the first time I was like, oh, like, this is it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing in this world. And then I just got really eager about finding more opportunities to do exactly that.
Nice. And I think, I think that's part of her gifts. Her superpower is helping other people to see that they can be so much more. When I was transitioning careers and going through my life stuff, just seeing her on LinkedIn and all the things she was doing, I was like, look at her doing her thing.
Always all over the world. It's so hard to
yes.
Hold her down. What country are you in today?
Yes. And then seeing her like in purpose with like all of her energy, she's always all smiles. Like, I love her. Like she absolutely, I don't know if she understands the type of like, even her silent impact on people who are watching her, but she's absolutely.
Yeah. Between her and Tiffany Davis Neely, who's like a mother to me, like if you ask her, like I'm basically her child. I know Kennedy's like her real child, but like, you can't tell me that's not my mother. But between Kim and Tiffany, like they really poured into me in a way that encouraged me like, oh, I can be something in this world, you know? And a lot of the opportunities that I've had to speak on a regional level have been through Tiffany. So I'm incredibly grateful. And even before I realized that I was a motivational speaker, I was still doing presentations for regional. So I'm definitely in awe of both of them and grateful to have them in my life for sure.
So last question. So with everything that you have been through and every avenue and platform that you've taken to share your story, the blog, the books, your network, can you give me one time that kind of sticks out where you had to kind of go within yourself to find the motivation and the keys to kind of get out of your own way so that you can progress and make some type of change in your life? And then just a little bit about like what the challenges were and how you overcame those.
Yeah. So the biggest challenge today, I would say hands down, would be the miscarriages of the twins. When I delivered the twins and I held him in my arms at the hospital, I made a promise to him, to them, that every day of my life, I would make a conscious effort to make sure that their life would not be in vain, and that there would be purpose for the pain that I was experiencing in that moment. And I think I'm doing okay. We're a couple years in, but I think we're on track. But that was the moment. And I didn't know what that promise would look like. I didn't know what it would feel like. I didn't know, but I knew for a fact that their life had to have meaning, and there just was no other choice, right? And so it took a while. So I delivered them in October. They were due in March. But it started with like healing for myself. And it was the first time I learned to be selfish and learning to be there for myself. Because I couldn't, I didn't have the strength to be there for anybody else. Like I just couldn't. And I realized in that moment that I have to take care of me. And then with whatever energy is left, I can be there for other people. Point blank, period. And so I've been able to adjust that paradigm for my life. So it started with just, becoming whole again. And like, what does it feel like to live when you feel like your heart has been ripped out from the inside? Like, how do you smile again? How do you find joy? Like, what does happiness look like after losing 2 children in the same month? Like, what does that even, is it okay to be happy again? Which I struggled with that for a while. Like, is it like, am I disrespecting their memory by being happy? Like, that was a real struggle for a while. And what does happiness look like? And so once I got through the work of healing myself, then I started very passionately looking towards what does the purpose for that pain look like. And so around May of that year, I started I recommitted to my video blog. I got connected with a career coach. So he, basically what I do for my clients, he walked me hand by hand, week by week, hour by hour, pushing me, further and further and harder and harder. And like literally every week I'm like, yo, I think I have a handle on this business world. And here you go, blowing my mind yet again. And it was week after week and I was just fascinated. But that's when I learned the power of accountability. So 2016 was like the hardest year of my life, but 2017 was the most productive year of my life. That was the year I published my first book. Got really consistent with my video blogs, just everything. Got my first website was professionally done, all sorts of things. But I had an accountability partner for my business, in my professional life, fitness. I had a spiritual accountability partner, financial accountability partner. And then my best friend kind of, did the full circle thing. So, keeping everything in line in general. But that was the most productive year of my life. And it was because accountability. There were people in my life asking those tough questions, and I was ready for those questions because you're not going to not get the answer you want. Like, that's just not how I'm built. But that was really how I learned to push through. Even when I didn't want to push through, was having accountability systems in place, whether you have to pay for it or not. Like, for example, my business coach, I paid for it, right? We pay him for his time. But then, like, the other accountability partners just did it because they cared about me as a human. And not to say that my career coach did not, but, like, that's his business. So it is what it is. But really just having the people in my life. I think I had a sororities accountability partner that year too. Like, I literally was like, who can hold me accountable to my goals? Let's get it done. And I did. So even though I hit rock bottom on all accords in 2016, I had financial challenges. My car got repossessed. Problems with family, drama, all on top of the grief, right? Me and the father of the twins broke up in between the miscarriages. Like, it just was all types of craziness. But then 2017 was one of the best years of my life. So it's really just about deciding what you want, focusing in on yourself, and then having accountability in place to reach those goals.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, well, thank you for joining me today and for sharing your story and opening up and being your own truth teller in our wonderful community of women who need to hear those things. And I hope that somewhere someone listens to this and they are a better person and changed for your decision to join me today. I'm so excited.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. And if anyone does need an accountability partner, I'm open to, I'm currently accepting about 3 new clients, but definitely you can get scheduled on, I don't know what that was, but you can get scheduled on a free consultation, nicolesnetwork.net/consultation. I have space for about 3 more clients on my roster, so definitely get your consultation scheduled right away.
All right. And then where can they find you on social media? Anywhere, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter?
You name it. Girl, I'm on LinkedIn. You name it, okay? But Instagram is @Tiara Nicole. Twitter is Tiara Nicole _. Facebook is Nicole's Network. YouTube is Nicole's Network. And then LinkedIn, I think it's just my name, Tiara Nicole. Might be Tiara Nicole Riley. You know, semantics.
Nice. Well, thank you again for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. For more information on Tiara Nicole, you can visit nicolesnetwork.net. You can also follow Tiara Nicole on Instagram at @Tiara Nicole _. You can follow her on Twitter at Tiara Nicole and also on Facebook at Nicole's Network 1. If you would like to purchase tickets to the Loving Me conference, you can find the information and ticket prices and purchase them at lovingme2019.eventbrite.com. Use promo code Tiara Nicole for 50% off. Bye.